Long before gunpowder, tanks, or drones, there existed warriors whose names would echo across centuries. Not for the empires they built, but for the codes they lived and died by. From the sun-scorched plains of ancient Greece emerged the Spartans, a people who forged their youth in fire, steel, and silence. Every man a soldier, every child a blade in the making. Raised in the ruthless Agoge, Spartans embodied an ideal, discipline above all. They fought not for glory, but because it was the only thing they were born to do. Across the sea, in the misty mountain provinces of feudal Japan, another archetype of warrior took form. Clad in lacquered armor and wielding blades kissed by legend, the samurai served not only lords, but ideals. Honor, loyalty, self-mastery. Theirs was a life of sword and soul, shaped by centuries of ritual, poetry, and war. What would happen if these two forces, one bred for cohesion and conquest, the other shaped by precision and principle, collided on neutral ground? Could the iron phalanx of Sparta hold firm against the fluid, graceful art of kenjutsu? Would the katana find its mark between bronze and muscle? Or would the unyielding wall of shields crush the finesse of the Eastern blade? In this speculative confrontation, we break the laws of time and space. Imagine a battlefield where eras bleed into each other, where the cries of Thermopylae echo against the wind-swept fields of Sengoku, Japan. Here, under a blood-orange sky, the 300 and the Bushido face off. No reinforcements, no retreat, only legacy left in the dust. This is not just a clash of weapons. It is a duel of ideologies. Discipline versus honor. Formation versus fluidity. Brutality versus balance. Who would win? Stay with us as we explore every angle. History, strategy, culture, and combat. This is War Face No Limit. To understand a Spartan on the battlefield is to understand a human weapon, sharpened from birth, bound by loyalty, and built for war. The Spartan warrior was not merely a soldier. He was a product of a system, the Agoge, a brutal training regime that began at the age of 7. Taken from their families, Spartan boys were cast into a world where weakness was not punished. It was purged. Starved to teach cunning, beaten to teach endurance, isolated to forge independence. From this crucible emerged warriors who did not flinch at death, because they had never been allowed to fear it. By adulthood, they were masters of close-quarters combat, expert tacticians, and part of a war machine designed to operate with terrifying unity. Spartan society was, at its core, militaristic. The elite class, known as the Spartiates, trained full-time as hoplites. Farming, trade, politics, these were the tasks of the helots and perioikoi, the non-citizen classes. For a true Spartan, there was only one duty, to fight and to die well. Their signature formation, the phalanx, was more than a tactic. It was a philosophy, a wall of overlapping shields, spears projecting outward like the spines of a beast, moving as one impenetrable force. It demanded complete synchronization, discipline, and trust. The man beside you was your armor, your brother, your legacy. In terms of equipment, the Spartan hoplite was a fortress in motion. He bore the aspes, a massive round bronze shield nearly a meter in diameter. Not just for defense, it was used to shove, batter, and protect the next man in line. His primary weapon was the doru, a 7 to 9 foot spear used to keep enemies at bay. And when lines collapsed, he would draw the ziphos, a short iron sword ideal for stabbing in tight spaces. His Corinthian helmet, iconic and suffocating, limited vision and hearing, but made him appear as a faceless, inhuman avatar of war. Spartan armor was heavy, muscle cuirasses of bronze or layered linen and leather, greaves, and bracers. In total, a hoplite could carry up to 70 pounds of equipment. It made him a tank in formation, nearly immovable, but less adaptable in solo combat or on uneven terrain. Command structure in Sparta was relatively simple yet effective. Kings led armies, but tactical decisions often came from seasoned officers chosen for experience, not birth. orders were minimal. The phalanx demanded few commands, just clarity, discipline, and the will to hold the line. Spartan warfare excelled on flat, open ground, plains and valleys where the phalanx could form, march, and crush. In tight forests, steep slopes, or ambush zones, their rigidity could become a weakness. But even then, their discipline often allowed them to regroup and resist where lesser armies would break. Psychologically, the Spartans were terrifying. Their enemies knew that these men feared neither death nor pain. They advanced without cries or boasting, just the thunder of bronze boots and the hiss of spear tips cutting wind. Even their cloaks, crimson red, were chosen to hide blood, so no Spartan would appear wounded. But perhaps the most chilling detail, the Spartans were trained not to retreat. To die in battle was the highest honor. To survive by fleeing was unthinkable. So how would this play into a confrontation with the samurai? Spartans would rely on cohesion, formation strength, and overwhelming force. They would aim to neutralize the finesse of single combat with group tactics, engage quickly, close the distance, pin, and crush. But what if their line was broken? What if they were separated on uneven terrain? We'll explore that. But first, we must understand the other side of this clash. If the Spartan was shaped by endurance and silence, the samurai was forged in ritual and precision, a warrior who carried not only a sword, but a philosophy. Emerging during the Heian period and reaching their zenith in the chaotic Sengoku era, the samurai were the martial elite of feudal Japan, serving under powerful feudal lords known as daimyo. These warriors were more than soldiers. They were adherents of Bushido, the way of the warrior. This was not simply a code of conduct. It was a spiritual framework built upon loyalty, duty, courage, respect, and self-discipline. To a samurai, honor was life itself, and to die with honor was to transcend mortality. Samurai training was lifelong. From youth, they practiced not only warfare, but poetry, calligraphy, philosophy, and meditation. They were taught to kill and to think. The perfect samurai was both lethal and composed, deadly and dignified. In battle, the samurai was a master of multiple martial arts. Most iconic among them was kenjutsu, the traditional sword art, but they also trained in kyujitsu, archery, sojitsu, spear combat, jujitsu, grappling, and iajutsu, quick-draw sword technique. Their fighting style emphasized fluidity, economy of movement, and the use of momentum, quite different from the rigid, mechanical precision of a Spartan phalanx. The core of the samurai's arsenal was the katana, a curved, single-edged sword known for its sharpness, speed, and spiritual symbolism. Made from high-carbon tamahagane steel and folded repeatedly, the katana was both durable and razor-sharp. Unlike the Spartan ziphos, the katana was optimized for slashing, precision strikes, and counterattacks with incredible cutting potential, especially against exposed or poorly armored targets. But the katana was not their only weapon. Samurai often carried a daisho, a pair of swords, the katana, and the shorter wakizashi for close quarters or ritual use. In field combat, many also wielded the yari, spear, a versatile thrusting weapon with greater reach, or the naginata, a curved blade on a pole ideal for sweeping movements against cavalry or infantry. Yumi, the longbow, gave samurai exceptional range capability before engaging in melee. Their armor, called oyuroi or dumaru, was constructed from lacquered iron or leather plates bound with silk or leather cords. Compared to the bronze shells of the Spartans, samurai armor was lighter, more flexible, and designed for mobility, allowing the wearer to move and react quickly, especially in the forested, mountainous terrain common in Japan. It offered moderate protection but left gaps, particularly at the joints and underarms. Samurai battle tactics evolved significantly over time. In earlier eras, one-on-one duels on the battlefield were common, almost ceremonial. But by the Sengoku period, a time of near-constant warfare, samurai fought in units, adapted to ambushes, sieges, cavalry charges. and guerrilla-style maneuvers. They were increasingly pragmatic, using terrain, timing, and surprise as their weapons. Their ability to adapt stood in stark contrast to the more structured approach of Spartan warfare. Command structure was based on feudal loyalty. Samurai swore allegiance to their lords and were bound by both personal loyalty and the expectation of valor. Disobedience was unthinkable. So was surrender. In defeat, many samurai would commit seppuku, ritual suicide, to preserve honor rather than fall to disgrace. In psychological warfare, samurai projected elegance and fear. Their armor often featured demonic masks, minpo, fierce crests, and antlered helmets designed to intimidate. And unlike the silent Spartans, samurai were known to announce their lineage and achievements before combat, a tradition known as koyo gunkan, both a challenge and a declaration of pride. How would the samurai fare against the Spartans? They would avoid direct collisions with the phalanx. Their strength lies in mobility, dueling skill, and terrain manipulation. A samurai would exploit gaps, use speed, bait a charge, and strike where armor failed. Against a rigid formation, they would attempt to fragment the enemy, isolate the vulnerable, and then eliminate them with surgical precision. But their lighter armor could prove fatal if caught in the Spartan spear wall. And while samurai were capable in small units, they lacked the massive cohesion that defined a Spartan line. So, what happens when art meets discipline? When one man's code clashes with another's will? The battlefield will reveal that answer. Imagine a world where time fractures, not into chaos, but into convergence. From the war-torn lands of Greece and the mist-veiled mountains of Japan, two of history's most iconic warriors are pulled into a realm of conflict beyond their own eras. The battlefield is neutral, a vast, open valley surrounded by jagged hills. In the center, a flat plain of cracked earth, littered with ancient ruins, half-buried columns, and broken torii gates. Small groves of trees scatter the terrain, offering cover but not safety. The sun hangs low, casting long shadows. It is neither Greece nor Japan, yet both resonate in the soil. Two armies stand opposite one another. On one side, 300 Spartans, shielded and silent, arranged in a solid phalanx formation, bronze glinting in the fading light. On the other, 300 samurai, scattered in fluid clusters, each with armor tailored to personal style, some with naginatas, others with yari, archers perched on the ridges above. There is no trumpet, no war cry, just a rising wind and the slow advance of inevitability. Phase 1. The opening engagement. The Spartans move first, a disciplined, thunderous march, shields tight, spears forward, advancing in a wedge. Dust rises from the synchronized stomp of bronze boots. Their intention is clear: make contact, pin the enemy, and crush them with unity. The samurai do not meet them head-on. Instead, they split like flowing water around a stone. Archers release volleys from the flanks, targeting the exposed gaps above the Spartan shields. The arrows whistle, some find crevices at the neck or thigh, others harmlessly glance off bronze. Spartans raise shields above, a test of cohesion. For now, their wall holds. Phase 2. First contact. A group of spear-wielding samurai charges the Spartan line, not to break it, but to test it. They jab and retreat, swift and calculating. Their speed is impressive, but the Spartan defense is like stone. One misstep, and a samurai is impaled on a doru, dragged into the crush of bronze, and finished with a xiphos. But the samurai don't panic. They adapt. Smaller units bait the flanks, feigning retreats into the ruined pillars, trying to draw Spartans out of formation. A few younger warriors bite the bait and die for it. Spartans do not chase. The phalanx remains intact, a wall that moves. Phase 3. Environmental shift. The battlefield shifts as the fight spills into uneven terrain. A grove of trees to the right provides concealment, and samurai units vanish into its shadow. For the first time, the Spartans are forced to fragment, sending squads to root out ambushers. Here, the tide turns. In narrow spaces, where the phalanx cannot form, the samurai strike like lightning. Using the trees for cover, they ambush isolated Spartans with katana drawn. Blades find joints in the armor, under the arms, behind the knees. The curved steel cuts deep, where the xiphos cannot reach. But not without cost. In close quarters, even without the phalanx, Spartans are lethal. A wounded Spartan tackles a samurai and drives a broken spear through his neck. Another Spartan, shield smashed and bleeding, hurls his helmet and blinds his attacker long enough to stab. It is brutal. It is balanced. The battlefield drinks deeply of blood. Phase 4. The turning point. As dusk sets in, visibility drops. The samurai exploit the fading light with guerrilla strikes, disorienting the Spartans, using speed and silence. A group of samurai feign surrender, only to draw wakizashi and slit throats in the dark. But the Spartans respond, as they always have, with grit. They form torch circles, backs together, shields raised. Their training in silence allows them to coordinate without shouting, while the samurai, accustomed to more open, fluid communication, struggle to organize in the gloom. In the center of the field, a final confrontation begins. A samurai commander, armored in black-lacquered oyuroi, steps forth. In his hands, a master-crafted naginata. Across from him, a Spartan officer, breastplate dented, spear shattered, wields only his xiphos and aspies. They clash. The samurai's movements are elegant, each swing a dance. He cuts, turns, dodges. But the Spartan absorbs the blows with shield, enduring until he finds his moment. A feint, a lunge. The short sword pierces beneath the arm. The Spartan collapses a heartbeat later, his throat opened by a final swing. They die within seconds of each other. Both fulfill their code. Phase 5. Stalemate or victory. As dawn breaks, the field is quiet. Smoke rises from scattered fires. Of the original 300 on each side, only a handful remain. Samurai archers cling to the cliffs, but have no arrows. Spartans limp across the ruins, bloodied but resolute. Could the battle continue? Yes, but to what end? Victory is unclear. It depends on terrain, on timing, on leadership, on the moment of hesitation or brilliance. In a flat field, the Spartans dominate. In forests and ruins, the samurai excel. When formation holds, Sparta is a wall. When it breaks, the samurai become ghosts. This is not a story of one side defeating the other. It is a story of two philosophies colliding and neither flinching. When the dust settles and the screams fade, what remains is not a clear victor, but a battlefield full of lessons. This clash between Spartan discipline and samurai honor reveals something deeper than casualty counts or tactical maneuvers. It uncovers the soul of two warrior cultures and the environments in which they thrive. Let's break it down. 1. Formation versus fluidity. The Spartan phalanx is nearly unstoppable in open terrain. A wall of bronze and discipline, it turns men into a single organism, impenetrable, implacable, lethal. In a pitched frontal confrontation on flat ground, the Spartans hold a decisive advantage. Their unity crushes the individualized combat of the samurai, who would struggle to break the line before being overwhelmed by spears and shield pushes. However, as soon as terrain fractures the Spartan line, hills, forests, ruins, or darkness, their cohesion begins to erode. Spartans outside the phalanx lose their most powerful advantage. And this is where the samurai shine. Decentralized, adaptable, and lethal in small-scale combat, samurai warriors can exploit isolated targets, using their agility and superior swordsmanship to outmaneuver the heavy hoplites. 2. Equipment and weaponry. Spartan armor provides greater overall protection, especially in the front. Their Aspie's shield, in particular, is a game-changer in group tactics. However, it also comes with weight and limited flexibility. A Spartan is a tank, but not a nimble one. Samurai armor is lighter, more mobile, and better suited to changing terrain. Their weapons, the katana, naginata, and yumi, are optimized for precision, speed, and versatility. While the katana may struggle to cut through bronze, it can be devastating when finding the gaps. Neck, groin, underarm. And in one-on-one duels, especially with the katana or naginata, a samurai may very well outfight a Spartan once the shield is neutralized. 3. Tactics and adaptability. This might be the most important point. Spartans rely on predefined structure, honed through relentless training. When the plan holds, they dominate. But if the plan collapses, individual adaptability becomes crucial. And here, the samurai's broader skill set gives them an edge. Samurai are trained in multiple weapons, stealth tactics, and reactive strategy. In prolonged engagements where unpredictability rises, the samurai's flexibility becomes a decisive asset. 4. Psychological warfare. Both factions carry immense psychological weight. Spartans terrify with their silence and unity. Their reputation as men who do not retreat, do not surrender, adds to their mythos. Samurai, on the other hand, project both nobility and menace through appearance, ritual, and fearlessness in death. The result? Neither side yields psychologically. This is a fight to the last man. Alternate outcomes. If the terrain were mountainous or forested, advantage shifts to the samurai, who can maneuver, divide, and strike from unexpected angles. If the battle occurs on a narrow beach or plain, the Spartan phalanx likely holds and rolls forward, overwhelming by sheer discipline. If the samurai had mounted units or time to prepare ambushes, they could bleed the Spartans through attrition before a direct clash. If night falls and chaos spreads, samurai stealth and mobility become deadly, while Spartans may falter without visibility or formation. In the end, there is no clear winner, only possibilities. The Spartans bring unbreakable unity, brute force, and a terrifying wall of bronze. The samurai bring surgical precision, adaptability, and a deadly grace sharpened by centuries of refinement. In some worlds, the phalanx stands tall. In others, the katana carves through shadows. 2 civilizations, 2 warriors, 2 legacies carved in iron and will. The Spartan and the samurai never met in history, but here, in our thought experiment, they did more than just clash blades. They showed us what happens when different definitions of strength collide. Discipline versus honor. Formation versus finesse. And yet, the real question is not who would win. It's under what conditions would each thrive? What if the battle had taken place in a bamboo forest under moonlight? What if the samurai had brought cavalry, or the Spartans had more than 300? What if both sides had time to study the other's fighting style before war began? Or what if they didn't fight at all, but faced a common enemy together? This is the heart of Warface No Limit, not just to declare victors, but to explore the edges of imagination where history meets myth and war becomes story. Now it's your turn. What do you think would happen if Sparta and samurai clashed again, this time in winter, or in a burning city? Who adapts faster when the rules change? Let us know in the comments. Your ideas fuel the next battlefield. And if you want more battles like this, where timelines collapse and warriors from every age rise again, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Join the ranks of those who wonder, what if? Next episode, we're thinking Mongol horse archers versus Roman legions, speed meets strategy. Or maybe something darker, something not of this world. And for those who watched closely, did you spot the hidden nod to a legendary duel buried in today's scenario? You'll know it when you see it. This is Warface No Limit. And this war has only just begun.